Okay.
Speak.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the August 2nd commission meeting for the Cumberland Tow Truck Scenic Railroad Commission. Can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Elbrock,
Here.
Commissioner Graybill,
Here.
Commissioner Gibbs.
Here.
Let the record reflect that there is a quorum. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The commission would like to recognize former Commissioner Bill Locke is in the audience. Thank you, Bill.
Happy to be here.
And we would also like to hold just a moment of silence for a former Commissioner, Dick Coles, who passed away in May. So we'll just have a moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Presentation of the FY24 audit by Mr. Trujillo.
Morning.
Morning, Josh.
Good morning, Josh.
Kim, can you just scooch over to the right a little bit?
We'll make you a little bit more room.
Stand by, Josh. We're gonna record this the old way.
Sure.
Okay, go.
Whenever you're ready, Josh.
All right, well, thanks for having me this morning to just kind of fill you in on the results from the fiscal year 2024 audit. Now, I sent a letter over to Commissioner Smith-Katzberg yesterday, and that has some of the required communications from the audit. Now, the audit that we perform is for the commission as a whole. Excuse me. And really, our responsibility as the commission's auditors is to express an opinion about whether your financial statements are materially correct. Now, we do audit the commission as a whole, but we also audit the commission at each individual fund level, meaning we audit the general fund of the commission, we look at the capital fund, we look at CTO and the historic preservation fund, all separately. And ultimately, we express an opinion on whether the financial statements of the commission as a whole are materially correct, but also at each of those individual fund levels. Now, we perform what's called a risk-based audit, which is where we do a lot of work to identify risks that could impact the financial statements. And as we identify risks, we design procedures that address those risks. Now, risks don't necessarily translate into findings. They just help us guide our audit procedures. Now, at the conclusion of our audit, we did issue an opinion, and that opinion was unmodified. Now, that's really the highest level of assurance that we can provide as auditors. It doesn't mean that there were no adjustments made as part of the audit. It doesn't mean that there were no findings or recommendations made as part of the audit. It simply means that at the conclusion of our audit, we feel that the financial statements of the commission at that entity-wide level, as well as at each individual fund level, are materially correct. Now, this year's audit was a little bit different from the last several audits because we performed the audit under state of Colorado auditor rules, whereas for the previous 3 years, we had performed the audit under the state of New Mexico auditor rules. Now, that changed a few things related to our testing. First and foremost, it changed the deadline for the audit to be completed, but it also changed some of the reporting requirements and whatnot. But ultimately, like I mentioned, the opinion we expressed was unmodified. Now, some other information that is included in that letter I shared with you all, if there were any difficulties we encountered in performing the audit, we would communicate that to you all as part of the audit, and that really as part of this presentation. The only real difficulty we encountered was just, getting the information we needed to complete the audit timely. One of the findings that we reported as part of the audit was the fact that the audit was submitted late to the state of Colorado. We completed the audit and submitted it in June, so last month, but the audit was due to be completed by the end of January 2025. So, roughly about 5 months after that due date. That due date will remain for fiscal year 2025. So the hope is that this year's audit will be completed by January of 2026 going forward. Now, there were a couple of other findings that were reported as part of the audit. We had a few adjustments that were made as part of the audit. Adjustments are where we test a balance and think the balance should be reported at a different amount than your financial statements show them. So because there were adjustments, we included a finding related to having to post those adjustments, but also related to the fact that the accounting records weren't closed until 7 or 8 months after the end of the year. So that was really the context of the first finding that we reported. And then there was also another finding reported related to the use of purchase orders. Now, your policies require the use of purchase orders for all purchases. And similar to the last several years, we noted that purchase orders weren't used for all purchases that we tested as part of the audit. I want to say there were 2 of the 12 vendors that we tested that didn't have an approved purchase order, exceeding the amount of purchases that were made. There were also some other recommendations made as part of the audit, and those are things that don't necessarily translate into findings, but still things that we identified as part of the audit that we wanted to make sure to communicate to you all. Those aren't included in the financial report itself. Those are issued under a separate letter, a 2 or 3 page letter that contains just other recommendations we made as part of the audit. But really, overall, we did issue that unmodified or clean opinion on the financial statements. We did have those 3 findings that were reported as part of the audit, as well as those other recommendations. But overall, a clean opinion related to the audit of the financial statements. So I don't know if you all had any questions or others had any questions, but I'd be happy to go through them if you do.
I don't think I've got any questions.
No questions here.
I don't have any questions, Josh, but I do have a request. Normally we get 10 wire-bound copies because they have to go to the governor's actual office and not just to the state auditor. Plus we keep a couple on file. Can you get those to us, please, sir?
Yeah, of course. I'll get those bound this week and over to you.
Perfect. Alicia, Ed, you guys, questions? You done? Okay, you can go fishing now.
Thank you,
All right,
Josh.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
And I think the only comment that I would make, it wasn't for lack of trying to get the audit in on time. We had a contractor that was not timely in delivering some information that we needed to close.
And that contractor is no longer employed.
And he made the comment that it was done to Colorado rules, but New Mexico requires audits sooner than Colorado.
Yeah, we're gonna have to address that because
So-
we got dinged in the legislative session for not getting our audit
Right.
in on time.
And a couple of years ago, the 2 state auditors agreed that we would follow the most restrictive rules of both states. And so we need to get done by November 1.
Right.
And Colorado said that's fine with them.
Anything else? Any other comments? Approval of the minutes of the May 3rd, 2025 regular commission meeting. Are
So-
there, go ahead.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Chief Mechanical Officer's report.
Well, Stephen is busy working on a locomotive this morning, so it'll be available this evening. So he asked me to go through his commission report at a high level, and so I'll read his statement. 168's in service. Ran out of Antonito earlier this year. Its next scheduled trip will be Monday, August 4th. 463 is out of service. It passed its annual FRA boiler inspection in April. The new tires are installed on the wheels. It required a new wedge to be created for one of the axles. That's done. It's getting new hub liners for all 4 axles, and they're working on new crown brasses. And that's moving along when the shop crew's not busy servicing locomotives. There was some information floating around that the wheels had been sent out and they had not left the property, so that's all been done in-house. 484 is in service. A week or so ago, the trailing truck wheel set was dropped, turned, and put back under the locomotive. It will run out of boiler time on its 1472 at the end of this season after the winter trains, and then it'll be down for an extensive 1472 service. Excuse me. 487 is in service. Was down this last week for a boiler wash and 31-day inspection. Over the last several years, it received a significant amount of boiler work due to lower side sheets, lower door sheets, lower rear tube sheet, a large portion of the throat sheet. Other work included a new tender tank, cylinder sleeves, piston rods, and rings. So it's had an awful lot of work, and if I remember right, it's only been out of its 1472 for a few years. So 488 is in service. Last week it went through a 31-day inspection and boiler wash and replaced a main rod brass. 489 is out of service. It passed its annual FRA hydrant and boiler inspection in April, along with the rest of the fleet. Wheel work is being done by an outside contractor. It's progressing. 1, 2, and 3 have been turned. 1 and 4 are getting new crank pins. 4 is getting a new axle. All 4 wheel sets are going through the quartering machine at Age of Steam in Ohio. 492 is out of service. In June, the boiler was sealed up. A house hydro was done on it to 65 psi. There were some leaking stables in the firebox, and the old washout plugs were leaking, but the rest of the boiler was dry. The next step is to remove the tubes and start preparing for a boiler survey. 15 is in service as the Chama switcher. 19 is in service as the Antonito switcher and maintenance away work. 114 is in service and has a successful trip to Osier and back with a test train. Still a couple of small tweaks for the new software on the control system, but it's in service. Submitted by Stephen. Thank you, Stephen.
Wherever you are.
Marvin?
Well, we started our season, on May 30th, and we started really on an iffy status. We we were short locomotives, short on some of the work that had to be accomplished and all that. So even though it was a shaky start, I gave a lot of credit to shop crews, train crews and all that, and especially a lot of credit to to our reservation staff, the way they handled situations. You know, they put up with a lot of stuff, and trying to just get the word out to people what our problem was, but they made it work. And as we went through, you know, after a couple of weeks, we started getting back on our feet. And by the last week of June, we were pretty much back in full service. So that became the best plus, because then we were able to try to get back into what we need to do. But we encountered problems because we had problems with our water systems, both at Cumbres and Sablet. So we had to do quite a bit of work on those. And as we went through, we repaired some of the lines and all that, and all that stuff started going our way. So we're finally being able to get back into our regular mode of running the railroad and getting stuff to our trains running on time, you know, trying to provide better service for our people. We've been able to do, I'm gonna say, keep our trains, keep our people happy, which is our main goal. But we've been able to start some projects that we need to do, and we're able to start supporting those projects. You know, we started the Long Creek project, which, you know, is underway. It's not going to be an easy project. We're starting to find out that it's taking a little bit more than what we expected. Just the way we have to move stuff in. We're in a remote area. One of the things we found out is we're having to do a lot of hand labor. We weren't able to use the machine for the way we expected. You know, we expected to do a lot of the work with the excavator. It's not working that way, so that's making it a little bit different. So we have had to stop our trains a little bit just to give us time to get out of the way. But we haven't had to make significant delays. You know, they've been 5-10 minute delays. That's it. So, you know, they've been able to make up that time. So that's going on. You know, we've worked that one out. For a lot of people here, everybody's been anxious to know, well, what's going to happen with the 114. What's 114 doing? 114 will start moving ballast on Tuesday. We will get it up to Cumbres, and it's scheduled to start moving some rock for the Long Creek project. And hopefully by doing that, we can free the number 19, and we can start doing a little bit of cleanup on the right of way on the fire mitigation stuff once we have the number 19 free, because we'd have another locomotive that we can move around fairly easy and park wherever at the end of the day, you know. So that's where we're at on that, to try to get that, as much of that cleanup done as possible. At Osier, the dining hall, we pretty much got everything taken care of there. You know, it's been working okay, no problems. Our generator's been running okay. You know, we've kept the service off on them and all that. So I haven't seen any problems there yet. So that's working out good for us. And other than that, you know, we're getting ready. We're getting ready for Monday's train with the Colorado legislature, and that's pretty much ready to go. And we'll be pulling that with the 168. So that's where we're at to date.
Barb, I'd like to thank you and the contractor and all the folks that worked so hard on the fire mitigation effort. That special appropriation was fully expended by the end of June, and you guys made tremendous progress over the whole railroad. on the national forest properties and mitigating fire hazards along the right of way. So thank you very much for everything you all did to make that happen.
Well, it was actually, you know, very interesting how the Forest Service came up and they gave us all the advice we needed. I mean, they worked right alongside with us. They didn't shove anything aside. They said, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" And it was joint effort between us, Forest Service, you know, both Colorado, Carson, and Rio Grande. You know, they both stepped in and, you know, they helped out. You know, they didn't leave us alone. You know, and they also helped us out when we had the problem with the water lines here at Coomers and all that. You know, I went in to talk to Andrea. She wasn't there, but when one of her employees caught a hold of her and told her, "Hey, Marvin needs to get in there to work on some water lines, and everything's closed up. He needs equipment." And she said, "Hey, you know, get him the access, get him in there. They need to get that." You know, they were real supportive. They helped us get that going right away. You know, so you know, a lot of the work on that. You know, I thank the Forest Service because they were right behind us. You know, and they didn't let us stand alone, and they were happy with the work that was done. I took them on a ride through, so that we'd have a chance to look at stuff, and they were impressed with the work. They were impressed of how much work we got done with the money we had. You know, so.
Well, I'd like to emphasize the point about the rocky start, but also the teams really pulling together to recover from that, because I can only imagine how difficult it is, especially if you're in ticketing and explaining to people that they have to be moved.
I got to stand there behind ticket agents when they were trying to explain what was going on and all that, you know, and it wasn't easy for them.
Yeah.
But you have some good ticket agents, and they handled it nice.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Well, all the teams did a great job, and thanks for sorting out the water issues. That's just huge.
And like I said, on the water issues, they're not completely over. I'm working on a proposal to redo certain sections of that water line at Cumbres so that we don't have that problem. You know, because I do see that if we don't do it this fall, I'm going to say that we're going to have the same problem next spring.
Yeah.
And, you know, that pipe's starting to deteriorate.
And you think that line is original in there? Or is
I think a lot of it still is original, just by looking at, you know, it's steel pipe. Some of it, it's pipe threaded on couplings, some of it, it's welded flue pipe. You know, so, you know, it's old.
Absolutely.
You know, there's places that I dug along the side of it, and then we'd clean it up with a shovel, and you'd tap the pipe with the shovel, and you had another hole, you know, and the flaking wasn't, you know, little pieces, you know, 1-inch pieces of flake that would come off that pipe, you know, and then we had another problem, you know, so. But one of my thoughts was to replace it with 2-inch, what do you call it,
PEX. Did you say yesterday? PEX?
2-inch plastic pipe, but the thick one, you know, and see what we do on that, you know. But I want to install checkpoints on it along. That way, if we ever have a problem, or we're getting water up to this place, well, okay, we got to work from this place on. Our biggest problem was we had to start from scratch from one end to the other, and just trying to figure out exactly where our biggest problems were. It took a while to do it because we'd have to work on one area, patch it up, and then, you know, wait overnight and pressurize it to see where the next leaks were coming from, you know, and as we went through. So it wasn't a thing that we could just go in, okay, we fixed it, it's done.
Yeah. And that line is how long?
I'm gonna say that line's pretty close to a mile, a little over a mile.
That's a lot of height.
You know, but I figure we'll probably land up replacing them, so I'm gonna say, close to 3,000 feet.
Anything else for Marvin?
Thank you, Marvin.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Now my favorite CFO.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
So, I think Josh pretty much covered the audit side of things for us. He will be continuing this fiscal year, or the fiscal year that just ended. He will be doing some testing on that. I can tell you all right now that we will have a single audit this year. And that's for the ARPA funds that we received from New Mexico. We exceeded the $750,000 of expenditures within the fiscal year. So, although he did do some testing this last 23-24 fiscal year, we will be doing the single audit. So that will be on top of our annual fiscal year end audit. Just a few things that I want to go over within my department. We are prepping for the audit prep now. Again, Josh will be doing the audit for us. And as soon as I get those bounds, I'll send them over to you, Kim, so you can do what you need to do with them.
Thank you.
I'm just going to jump into each fund, kind of go over a few things. The financial statements are changing a little bit right now because we're still doing some adjustments, closing the books, getting it ready for the trial balance for Josh, but this is in a nutshell what I have right now. So first and foremost is the HPA fund. So we do see a decrease in total income from prior year. This results from operational revenue. So we do see that on the CTO P&L statement as well, and I'll go into that a little bit further. Expenses have increased from prior year. So after the completion of the audit, we were and going into the new fiscal year, we were able to do the accrual for the HPF. So we do see an increase that actually sits on the balance sheet of the HPA fund, because that is a payout that we have. It's a contract with the Friends. So that sits on the balance sheet. So we do see an increase from prior year. The NI for HPF has increased from prior year. So in commission, the balance sheet, the total assets have increased from prior year. And the balance sheet, we have been doing a lot of the internal transfers. So the balance sheet due froms on the commission and the CTO, and especially capital, you'll see that those have decreased. So we're just moving some money around, putting the money where it goes. The time during COVID, things were a little tough, so it was very hard to do those intercompany transfers. So now that we have the money coming in with capital projects, stuff like that, we're able to move that to where it needs to go. So it does make our balance sheet look a little bit better in the commission and in the CTO fund. So the big one, let me go over capital a little bit. So as Scott mentioned earlier, and Marvin went over a little bit, fire mitigation. So we did fully spend that appropriated money from Colorado. So that's awesome. We actually received it in 2 payments. So that's just as much work as that was going on at the time. So the full amount was spent, and we did receive both of those payments from Colorado. So that was early in July. Right now we're just working on that P&L for the capital, just to ensure that we basically have to balance on so everything that sits in capital, we have to cover the project some way, somehow, whether it's with the states, whether it's pulling from CTO. So that the NI basically is 0 at the bottom. CTO. So that's our big one, of course. We do see an increase in total liabilities and equity from prior year. The biggest thing is we have been doing those intercompany transfers. So we do see that the most increase in our on the balance sheet, is our ticket revenue account, and that is in our bank accounts, our payroll account, and our retail account. So total current assets have also increased, and this includes inventory as well. So we purchased a lot of inventory this year, and from the sounds of it, Kaylee's been selling a lot of it. So total liabilities have also increased from prior year, and that's the due from accounts and deferred revenue. So this concludes the balance sheet for CTO. The P&L statement for CTO reflects an increase NI from prior year. We do see a decrease in our total income. So we did have a different pricing structure for the tickets this year, which I would have liked to have seen really affect the P&L statement, but with our delay in the first couple of weeks of the season, that did take a toll on us. So this also takes, again, the main is the operational revenue account and the retail account. So we do see a decrease in expenses. So that is making our bottom line look a lot better in comparison to prior year. Our decreases in expenses are payroll, operational expense, and GR, the general and administrative, are majority of the decreased expenses. But that's pretty much it for me for now. We are working on some budgets. So within this next week, we're hoping to have some more clear picture of how we move forward and working on that bottom line, especially in the CTO fund. So, any questions? Concerns?
Is Josh doing the ARPA single audit?
Yeah,
Okay.
so he'll be doing both. He's great to work with. He's very accommodating, I will say. So this will be our last year with Josh as an auditor. So going into fiscal year 26, we will have to go with the Colorado auditor. As of now, I do have a contact with Wall Smith and Bateman in Alamosa, and they are very they want to do our audit this next coming year. They're interested in the contract because we're looking at about a 3 to 6 year contract. So they would like to. What fell on us this year was the fact that they start accepting proposals early in the year. So January, February, usually that's closed about February, and they were concerned with that November 1 deadline. So they would like to get a little bit more familiar with our assets, our operation, before they jump into something so quick. So, but they'll be very convenient.
Yes.
They're just right there.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Alicia.
Alicia?
That needs to go back in your
Okay.
files from yesterday. Yeah. Thank you.
Anybody doing marketing?
I can talk at a high level about marketing. So Abby's training reservation agents as we speak. She has been for a bit. So she's not here today. By the way, my name is Eric Mason. If we haven't met, it's nice to meet you. Thanks for having me here. But yeah, essentially, Abby has I'd call it a robust marketing plan to attract guests and inform the public of the Commerce and Toll-Tech's existence and the services that we provide. We're varying it among digital, some print, billboards, TV, and so forth. Matter of fact, I was talking with a guest a couple days ago. They had actually seen a commercial on their evening 5 o'clock news in New Mexico, and they had never heard of the railroad. So they came in to visit us. So we're keeping an eye on sort of our ad spend, the effectiveness of that, the return on our investment. So you'll be seeing a lot more sort of fine tuning as we begin to target our markets and our prospects. a little bit more different, I guess, differently than we have in the past. Typically it's been demographic based. We're gonna go into the psychographical side now to really focus on people's wants, needs, desires, because the railroad has a rich experience to deliver to the public, and we're hoping to capitalize on that even more than we have in the past. So I think that's really kind of the crux of marketing. We did, I think, Alicia mentioned that we are around 17% down year to date compared to the prior year in terms of reservations. So we're trying to find ways to pick up, more to close that gap a little bit. So that's an ongoing initiative. Yeah.
And I'll just make a comment about that 17%. Obviously, a few percent of that's the rough start that
Yes.
we had. But it's pretty common throughout the tourism industry right now for people to be down 10 or 20 or 30%.
Yeah.
I was just reading an article this morning about Las Vegas being down 11
Yeah.
plus percent, and it's just a new reality for tourism right now. So we need to be as competitive as we possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. Discretionary dollars is what we use to travel, and those are being held dearly right now, just in case of whatever happens next. So,
Agreed.
I think that 11% in Vegas reflected to 140 million people a month.
Wow.
wow.
That's a lot of
That's
people.
That's
of
a lot of
people.
people.
Right, yeah.
I was in LAX and saw Coomers and Toltec advertisement.
No way.
Yeah, it was pretty
That's
good.
great.
Made me want to ride the train.
Was that the New Mexico True ad
Yeah, New
campaign?
Mexico
Yeah, they're
True
all
ad
over
campaign,
LA
yeah.
and Dallas, and
Wow.
New Mexico True has really been kind to us.
They have, yeah. You want to continue, Eric?
I'll-
And I'm sorry, we should have introduced you.
No, that's good.
I didn't forget you were sitting there. I just didn't think
Not
about
too
it. so.
late.
No, we're good, we're good. All right, no, I'll go into sort of, what I'm up to and sort of what the railroad's up to operationally and generally strategically. Again, most of you may remember me from the COVID days. I arrived to help support the Coomers and Toltec from mid-20 to 21. I've followed the continued progress of the railroad for the last 4 years. And I was delighted to kind of get a call from the commission asking if I would come back in and help support the railroad, which I jumped at the opportunity to do so. So I really appreciate that. Thanks for calling me back. I love the team. I love the experience, the communities. We've got so much to offer, and we want to offer more. So I'll talk a little bit about that as well. So I think the general theme that we should think about when we think about the Coomers and Toltec is sort of the Vision 2026 and beyond, right? People are changing, demographics, psychographics are changing. There's a hunger and a desire for more experiences in our lives. The Coomers and Toltec can deliver that in spades. And we'll talk about some of the other things that we're going to be doing to entice new generations of riders to come in and experience the railroad. So a little bit about sort of the current activity that's going on that I'm undergoing is so as soon as I landed, I began sort of an operational review, and really the way I do that is I speak to every single team member directly, individually, confidentially. I want to hear from the team about how we're doing, what we can do different, better. So that's mostly done, not completely done. I'm still working at that. We're also looking at products and services for the railroad. Some of what I mean by that is we're going to be focused on experiences that are, I don't want to call them bite-size, but more digestible in terms of the amount of time it takes, the experience itself. So think about themes like murder mystery, or night dark sky trains, or more dining and wine tasting, and all the things that the railroad can offer in sort of bite-sized chunks, digestible chunks of time. And frankly, if you think about where we are between Chama and Antonito, we're probably one of the top meccas for dark sky activity, maybe in the world. Certainly, I think top 50. So we're going to use the natural resources that have been provided to the railroad by virtue of where it exists and resides. So there's a huge community. There's quite a bit of I think the total addressable market for dark skies is $3 billion-ish, if not more. So there's a lot to make hay out of there. So I think we actually might even try to run a couple of dark sky trains maybe this season. Marvin and I have chatted a little bit about that. We might give that a shot, see if we can do that. The other thing that we're focused on is balancing the demand for the railroad across our two communities. We've seen obviously strong demand coming out of Chama. We want to make sure that we produce demand from Antonito and for Chama. So that'll help us sort of adjust our marketing campaigns to make sure that we're attracting guests that can sort of ride from either side of the railroad, because at the end of the day, we're one railroad. So we want to afford the guests to do that. So anyway, at the end of the day, regarding the products, we sit on pristine wilderness that, frankly, a lot of society and public has never seen before. And I think we owe it to them to invite them in a way that entices them to experience it. I was in awe when I first arrived during COVID at running the pass, probably one of the most picturesque routes I've ever taken. And I've traveled around the world, worked around the world. It's stunning. So it's time to let others in our little secret. So we'll do that. I'm also working on team development, again, in line with me meeting with each team member, making sure that they have tools, resources, and support they need to be successful, making sure that we're aligned as a team. Again, none of this happens without the team, so it's really important for that to happen, and that's an ongoing initiative, and we're off to a great start. Let's see here, the locomotive fleet, I think Marvin mentioned, obviously we have Stephen Butler back at the railroad, and I think between Marvin and Stephen and the team, the fleet is looking really good. One of my goals coming in is to make sure that we had serviceable, in-service locomotives to deliver our service, and we've been getting updates every day, and it's really looking good. So thanks to the entire mechanical and locomotive and operations team for that. So we are underway, as Alicia mentioned, in our budget development. My goal for the railroad, for the business itself, is to give managers tools to operate their department. And we sort of strayed off of operational budgets and went to more of an aggregated budget. And we're going back to operational budgets. So again, a manager understands what their goals are, what their objectives are, revenue expectations, cost expectations. So I'm excited about that, and I really thank the accounting team for stepping up, and also the managers. They've been compiling all their data in a way that we'll beginning to meet with them next week and to hone in and refine the budget. And then we'll get into monthly P&L reviews to help support the team understand where adjustments might be needed, and just support them going forward. All right, so the historic preservation obviously is going to be key always for the Commerce and Toltecs. We're going to keep an eye on that, but we're going to make strides to allow the public to engage in this historical fleet, the sites, in ways that are tangible for them. So the Friends are making a lot of headway on some of the facilities that will allow that to happen, and we'll continue to support them. But I think it's time to really find new and different ways for the public to come in and engage and interact with the assets that we have and the history that we have. And I guess lastly, the community collaboration is something that's super important to me. I know it's super important to the commission and the railroad. I began walking through the communities myself, speaking to business owners and Chama and Antonito. We'll continue to do that. We're looking for ways to sort of rise all the ships in terms of the activity that we do. So we're looking at all kinds of stuff and partnering and packaging to entice more individuals and families to come, but then not just to come here, but stay here longer. So that's going to be a whole community exercise. It's not just the Commerce and Toltec that'll do that. It'll be our community partners and our teams and our support from the commission and so forth. All right, so obviously, the underline here, the theme is that we're going to make sure the Commerce and Toltec is here for another 100 years. It's critical. The society deserves it, and so we're going to be the shepherds of that. So I wanted to thank the entire Commerce and Toltec team for doing what they're doing, to making sure that we can deliver the products and services that we promise, and do it in a way that is friendly and enticing for the public to come and interact with us. So, so thanks for the team, and also thanks to the commission, the friends, communities, and the rail fans around the world for helping support us. Without it, we couldn't exist. And on the Friends note, I wanted to actually provide Rick, who's here from the Friends, we have the fiscal year 2024 HPA distribution. So I want to provide this check. It's $70,000. So here you are. And thank you very much for the help and
Thank
support.
you. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Commission, and all the members and the operating division as well.
Absolutely.
We can't do it without you guys.
Likewise.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Rick.
All right, well, with that, that is what I had to update you on.
Very nicely stated, Eric.
Well
And
done.
Thank you.
it's important that we evolve with our guests' desires. And I know I certainly love a 7-hour train ride, but I think we all recognize that, especially in today's very fast-paced society and our admittedly shortened attention spans,
Yeah.
people are more into a couple hour experience, and we have to meet that expectation and that customer demand.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we still want to have those 7-hour
Absolutely,
experiences
yes.
for people who relish those.
You just
Absolutely.
can't get enough.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So we're trying to broaden our appeal.
100%.
And I think from looking at some of the ridership data, the short trains from Chama, Cumbres, bus back, and the Cumbres, Osier, back to Cumbres have been successes this year.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how many people really understand that those trips are available right
Right.
now.
I agree. We're gonna change that.
You were talking about, speaking to all the team members, there is one team member that is working today and tomorrow. He's dispatching. He would like to speak with you. John.
Oh.
What's John's last name?
Reinhardt?
Reinhardt.
Oh, perfect. Is he in town?
He's
All
in
right,
town.
Wonderful.
He would like to see us.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I get, who's out?
Bob Cook.
But yeah, Bob is out, so he's
Okay,
standing in for Bob for a couple of days.
great. Thank you. I'll reach out to him.
Anything else for Eric?
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, Eric.
no, thank you.
Local affairs?
Well, the community's had a rough start as well. You know, they're based on our rough start with the train, but I think everything has kind of settled back down. Had a couple of disgruntled people show up at village council meetings and not speak very highly of the railroad, so we need to work on that. And Eric's reputation precedes himself, because I've had a couple of people say we're so glad, a couple of business owners just really happy that Eric's back. So, and I think that we need to start conveying to the community, and I know this is something that you're gonna work on, is that we need to change the way the railroad operates. And it may not necessarily be the one train departure from each community every day, but for us to survive, we're gonna have to reinvent ourselves. And so I think as we work through this, garnering community support is going to be essential. So that's something that I'm happy to help work on. But it may be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll get through it. And you know, we appreciate the supports of the community, because we're here because they're there. So that's all I have.
Any questions? And I know at the restaurant, I get some complaints about not running on Mondays, not really complaints, once you explain to them it's a business decision, and gives us a chance to reset our employees and do maintenance work. Well, they understand. And one of the biggest problems is, since the train's not running, a lot of people aren't open, particularly the restaurants. And that's what a lot of people are complaining about, was the restaurants not being open. There is one open on Mondays.
Yeah, you know, I think, if I can make a comment real quick, I think everything that we're going to be doing as a railroad, the target, the future experiences, the goal is to actually bring more people in more often, more frequently. So even think about multiple departures a day. given certain circumstances and experiences that we're gonna offer. So everything we're doing is obviously oriented towards certainly supporting the communities, and I think they will actually see that manifest itself as we get these going.
Yes, having those other offerings will bring in more people.
Yeah.
And that's critical. It beats the heck out of a limited number of people that go one time each day.
That's right.
Capital projects?
I think between the report from Stephen and Marvin on water systems and those things, pretty well covered almost everything. I want to highlight the work on new coach 526. I looked at it over the last couple of days. It is essentially assembled, ready for paint. It looks beautiful. The Antonito shop has done a fantastic job building that car, and it took less than a year, which is amazing to have them start with one of the steel skeletons. It has steel siding on the outside instead of fiberglass, so it should stand up to the weather and handling and everything better than some of the fiberglass sides have in the past. So congratulations to the Antonito team getting that together.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Is there anything you wanted to say, even though it's not really under this or some of the other categories, anything you wanted to mention about 315?
Oh. You set me up.
Sorry about that.
For those that don't know, I wear a couple of hats here. The 315 is undergoing some work on the firebox right now and getting some stay bolts replaced. The stay bolts that were under question have all been removed. Their new stay bolts are being machined. Morton Locomotive Works is doing that for us, and it should be back together. And then this fall, it will be transported from Antonito to Golden, Colorado, to participate in their winter operations up there as their second locomotive. And then it'll stay there through the first part of May for their Colorado Crossings event, and then the plan is to bring it back to Antonito. So then I will have to recuse myself from it, but there's a discussion that needs to happen between DRHS and the railroad about an extension of the prior 5-year agreement, and how do we agree how to use it. So we have an individual on the DRHS board who's tasked with doing that. I will not be.
It was not you. Yes.
Anything else? Anything for Scott? TABB report, John?
I want to thank you again for allowing Tracks Across Borders to be part of the commission meeting. I'll mention that John Bush, our president, and I met with Eric this past week, and I think what came out of a very good meeting is partnership between TABB and the railroad is mutually beneficial. Eric said, how do we get people to stay longer in Chama? Well, one possibility is take the byway out of Chama. You know, we have, for rail fans, we've got some remnants of the old railroad, water tanks, bridges, etc. But we also have the two Indian nations, we have scenery, we have ghost towns, so we have something sort of for everybody. So we appreciate the ongoing partnership. I'll just mention a couple of things we have going on. As I think everybody knows, one of our major projects over the past couple of years is to try to get the stock cars in Dulce replaced. I think we maybe finally have a little bit of motion in that direction. The nation is very interested, anxious to have this accomplished. They appear to be willing to buy the cars, perhaps with a combination of tribal money and grants, but that had not come up before. So we're kind of zeroing in on the cars that are currently in the RV park in Chama. By far not a done deal, but we're working on trying to get the tribal officials, the RV park owner, and the TABB board in there to inspect and look at the cars. We've looked at the cars. There are a couple of them that I think would be good candidates. We just have to get this put together. The tribe, the nation has indicated a willingness to demolish the old cars, dispose of the wood, although they actually want to try to save some of the wood that has like logos on it for a possible museum display. And they're quite willing to have the Friends acquire and take the metal parts of the two cars, which are in moderately good condition. They haven't run for 50, 60 years, but whatever. A couple other things that are going on that may be of interest. Our second interpretive sign is supposed to be installed at the ghost town of Juanita. Hopefully, actually in the next week or two. The Archuleta County has been very cooperative. We met on site with the county manager and the road and bridge public works people. They're ready to go with that. We've provided them with all the sign materials. We also have, courtesy of CDOT, well, at their request, we're going to, at some point, put a Welcome to Colorful Colorado sign on the road between Dulce and Juanita. Not a lot of traffic there, but CDOT was very interested in doing that, and the county is quite willing to install the sign as soon as CDOT fabricates it. We have a couple more sign bases for interpretive signs, so we'd like to get, that's one of the areas we really want to focus on a lot, is getting better interpretation. So if anybody has any ideas of places, we certainly will probably do something in Dulce. We'd really like to do something at the depot in Chama, where people who are waiting for the train might be able to become a little more aware of the byway and say, yeah, I'll stay. I'd like to take that when we're coming back. Let's go take the byway. Let's see. We continue to roll out our sponsorship program. One of our problems over the years is we don't have a funding stream. So we have created a sponsorship program. So far we don't have any sponsors, but we're in the process of trying to reach out to the business community in Ignacio, in Chama, in Durango. So I brought a couple of sponsorship packages. If anybody here has any interest in becoming a sponsor, I'll be happy to pass those out. We do have our new trifold, which I have passed out here in the past. I've got a couple more copies. Again, if anybody here doesn't have one, it has a much improved map over what we've had before, thanks to CDOT that paid for that. So we have those, and we've been going through those quite a bit. We've been trying to get them into visitor centers and other locations, businesses around the region. And finally, our next meeting actually is next Friday. It'll be in Dulce at the Hickory Administrative Building. Those meetings are open to anybody. If anybody would like to come at 10 o'clock to the building and join us, or we have a Zoom option. If you let me know if you're interested, we'd be happy to have anybody. Questions?
No?
Thank you, and
Thank
thanks
you.
again for meeting with us, Eric. We look forward to working closely with the railroad.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you,
More
John.
great progress, thank you.
Rick?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rick Marsden. I'm going to give you a brief summary of activity of the Friends. So as a lot of you all know, the Friends have completed their annual audit, and we have had the Schlenker and Cantwell did the auditing work along with SJT, which is our accounting firm. We received an unmodified, a clean opinion on financial statements. This is the highest level of assurance, as you all heard from the SJT earlier, the auditors can provide. Attached are the two files, and I enclose them to the commission as PDFs so you can have the complete reports. The audit summary presentation of 3 pages and the full 19-page audit report. Coming up, activities that the Friends are pleased to be involved with is the 100th anniversary of the K36 celebrations with the railroad. So we're pleased that the railroad has asked the Friends to be conducting and help them assist with yard docent tours in Chama on August 13th through the 15th. We are planning on having approximately 10 volunteers to conduct tours and assist the railroad staff to work with manning a Friends table as well. So we're going to have some information. So briefly, we're going to, it's still almost a total process. We would start out by the depot and make a big loop and go out into the yard. And I sent the agenda on to Abigail so she could read it and make comments or suggestions. Big loop, and we'd come back around and we would finish back by one of the engine shed doors. Doors are open, don't go in, but you're allowed to stay in there with the tour docent, and you can peek inside and go, wow, oh, that's a locomotive, wow. But that's the wow factor.
Yeah.
That's what they're here to see. K36 locomotives, they're in there. And then come back around, bring them back to the station, back by the gift shop area. Oh, you can also go in the gift shop, and then you're free to go. All right, so that's the plan. I'm pleased to report that the Chama webcams program, it was terribly slow getting it back up, but it is back up when the electricity allows us to stay up. But we got pretty much all new infrastructure, electronics, and we got fiber optics. We paid for fiber optic to come in, and some better communications equipment. It's still a struggle, but we are waiting to get one more camera in Chama. And we had already approved funding for a telephoto type of a camera, but it has to be positioned and mounted. As I understand it, they're still discussing where, possibly up on the top of the coal tower tipple or elsewhere. So that's in process, but it's been funded. So look for that shortly. KOAT, and I think you all alluded to this, is running your promotionals, and not very nice commercials, I might add. As I'm coming up I-25, I see billboards with Ride the Combers and Toltec, love it. And I was pleased to see that either Abby or whoever the producer put it together, they included a segment, voiceover from the evening news moderator, and there is Chama webcams. Yes, thank you very, very much. Whoever organized it, thank you. That's the reason why we have them. Friends status of our charters. Currently, the Friends still have 2 active charter trains booked for this year. The first up, which will be occurring this afternoon, this evening, it's our 33rd annual Moonlight and Wine train. It departs from Chama. Sales of tickets have been sluggish due to increased competition for available riders. Now, since I have written this, I have to say that sales have picked up due to newspaper advertising, and we are looking at a much better position where most of the premium cars now have riders and are almost full or are full. Coach cars are a little late, but it was a delightful problem to have, those premium cars, Bill. Gotta love it. So we'll be departing at 5:30 tonight, and our riders will be treated to a nice filet mignon, bacon-wrapped fillet or salmon fillet up at Osier, along with the appropriate sides and dessert. And we have a nice selection of central New Mexico and northern New Mexico wines for the train. The Friends 2-day photo rail charter will be running October 26th and 27th. That'll be our last charter for the year. It'll run from Chama to Antonito on day 1, and from Antonito back the next day back to Chama. Sales to date are about 75% of the planned 60 riders for this photo special train. We're also working with Trains and Travel, which is a tour organizer, and he is having problems with, what we'll just say, passport issues for foreign riders, getting permissions or getting timely entrances into the country. So, but I'm looking positive that we're going to be all 60 seats. That's the maximum you can put on this photo charter train, because if you have too many people, you can't get them on, you can't get them off, and nobody's happy if the train doesn't make its photo run-bys on time. So I'm pleased to report, though, that I think we'll be right on schedule. I would like to take and talk a little bit about the Friends work session as a recap. And I provided you a long list, but I just have to take and say, as a member of the Friends, and a lot of our Friends staff and officers are here, we can't do it without the railroad, because we exist to work with the railroad, but we can't do that job without our volunteers and our docents. So presently we have gotten accomplished so far, and the season's not over for us yet. Okay, we have had sessions A, B, C, D, and E, and F, and a special session. We've accomplished the following items. We have completed 13 brake test and C&TS inspections, completed quick fix inspections and work on 5 different rail cars, assembled a 20-ton truck to replace a 25-ton truck on maintenance away section car 4258. We repaired rider box car 3357 and tested it for brake operations. Box car 3263 is now at 80% completion, so I'm told. Tank car 1150, brake system work has been finished, ladders and platforms are at 85%. RPO car 54, all repairs were completed, undergoing paint application currently up at the CRF. Idler car flat car 6649, redecked, repainted, and lettering at 90%. It may be 100% by now. Painting completed on Chama on the following 4 cars: 4 box cars, 2 flats. Painting completed in Antonito on a flat car. Car lettering completed on 12 historic cars of various configurations. Sublet section house has had its south wall replaced by the kitchen and the floor, and installed supports on the south side of the structure. The car inspector's house finished interior beadboard walls, works, windows, doors, and security barriers, installed exterior window culverts, and working on the rear porch. Maintenance away team has replaced 3 of those large mile marker posts along the track sides. Installed a new station marker sign on the approach to Osier, and more. I mean, I really have to compliment everybody, for the record, all the Friends volunteers that have helped make this possible, because they give up their time and their vacation, their leave at their expense to come in and do this for the love of history, the railroad, and the people. So thank you to all of them. Membership, volunteers, docents, and social media report recap. The Friends current membership level is at 1,769 active members. It is down. Membership renewal should pick up as we go into the fall season historically, but it's still been sluggish. I think you're seeing that in terms of maybe riders. I mean, it's free money. It's available money. Sometimes they hold back a little bit, or they make the basic membership and they don't give a donation. But that's the state of the economy right now. So we're working with ways to get better outreach, to get a better, newer, fresher message out to solicit for the memberships. Our current Friends volunteer staff for this year is 159 active members. All that work I just read to you, plus some that I didn't bother reading, it's been achieved by 159 active volunteers. That is a huge workload and a lot of progress for that many people. Registered docents this year are 22, with 22 more in training. One of our founders, sitting there, Mr. Bill Locke, has agreed also to be a docent. Welcome to the docent team, Bill Locke.
It's gonna take a lot of training, okay?
The gentleman has probably forgotten more than he can remember from this organization as our founder. Thank you, Bill Locke. Thank you to all of our dedicated men and women, volunteers and docents that make this happen for the Friends and the Cumbres and the Toltec Scenic Railroad. We're partners together. Our social media program leader reports that on the reporting period, May through June, our Facebook followers have increased 3%. In addition, our Facebook likes and reactions have increased by 148%, from 4,000 to 10,000 in June. YouTube channel viewings are over 7,000 views per month so far through 2025. One of the things that I've encouraged Melissa to take and Kathy Walzer is to take and get some fresh content for those YouTubes. So instead of having someone say, oh, I took it and oh, I'll let you all use it, we want to have our own proprietary loops and information. You don't have to ask permission every time you want to broadcast it or edit it. So we're in the process of acquiring fresh data and fresh video and sound bites to put in that'll be our own, so we can use it more frequently and change it. The next commission meeting should be on November 2nd, I believe. Is that correct, Kim?
That's correct.
That's what I had down. And that will be in Chama, New Mexico.
Yes, sir.
And that concludes my 2 cents worth here. So any questions?
I have a comment. The work you've done reinforces our ability to allow that tangible experience with the railroad and the assets. So thank you for all of that, because without that, we'd be sorely lacking.
Well, we are a team. I mean,
Absolutely.
and this is how we as friends, members of the Friends, and our docents, all we think alike. I guess we're clones. But between John Porco and his byway, the docent teams with John Porco and Tom Stewart, riding the train, explaining to people as they're going along with, and we publish these mile marker guides, these trip maps, walking the Combres and such. The Friends publish all these. But you just don't read it and then put down. No, you have a knowledgeable person. That's what builds interest. It gets them excited about it. And the best thing that I can say, and it was during our work session C, I was up there at the kitchen car up in Chama along the side of the tracks. And the afternoon train came back into Chama. And there was this little boy, 5, 7, he's got maybe 7, because I could see his head over top the gondola. He was in the open air gondola with his mom and his dad, and there were some other people out there. And we all would stop work and we're waving to them as they come in, just like we wave as they go out. We're waving to them coming in. And this little boy with his dad was grinning from ear lobe to ear lobe. His little boy was so happy, and he may have been standing on the seat for all I know. His hands were, this is wonderful. I want to come back. I want to do this again. That is a precious memory. If there's a way that the organization or organizations could capture that with either video rights or exit interviews, or the man or the woman on the train doing it while it's rolling along with the proper permissions, of course, that is worth 3 billboards. That smiling, I love it. And that means mission accomplished. All 3 of us have done our job. And that just made my heart smile.
Rick, I'm not sure that a lot of people understand the museum aspect that the Friends provide to all of us. And the number of railcar assets that you all look after. There's 176 rail cars in one form or another, maintenance away, some of them we use in maintenance away service. But it's a huge, huge undertaking to look after that fleet. And just want to say thank you to the Friends for trying to do that.
Well, we do it because we actually like doing it. That is the magic ingredient.
But I think it's probably the largest fleet of wooden freight cars left any place in the world.
Or at least in North America.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that, and yes, I believe that, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank the
Thank
friends.
Thank you, yes.
Thank you all.
Another really interesting point is there were over a dozen kids yesterday on the train completing their junior engineer program.
Oh, wow.
And that's something that we could perhaps publish in the media
Yes,
as an attraction.
yes.
New business. Can I get a motion to approve or disapprove a fundraising campaign for locomotive 168 stay bolt replacement project?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Mark? Yea or nay?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Billy? Yes. Motion passes.
Can I make a comment on it?
Please.
About 2 years ago, the FRA noted during the internal boiler inspection on 168 that we were seeing significant wastage on the stables. Some of them are about 50% gone. And so we've been monitoring with them, and as long as we don't start breaking a lot, they're okay with the locomotive continuing to be in service. This is to try and prevent us having to be forced to take it out of service on a emergency basis and do some planning ahead. And I want to thank Stephen for his estimate. We need to raise about $50,000. And so Stephen is leading the charge on this. And I think it'll be a good project to ensure that that locomotive can continue to operate.
Agreed. It also helps encourage outside contributions rather than
Yes.
us trying to accept the entire financial responsibility for it. It gives
Yep.
people the opportunity to participate in it.
Item B under new business. Can I get a motion to approve or disapprove resolution 2025-001? A resolution to accept the audit report for the Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad financial records for fiscal year 2023-2024.
So moved.
Second.
Kim?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Billy? Yes. Motion approved. Approved.
Also need 2 copies. That's a pencil.
I have to borrow.
Me too. Make him send the pen down.
Item C. Under new business. Can I get, oh no, we're taking that out, aren't we?
I'm gonna make a motion to table, the state forestry's legal department has not completed the MOU. They wanted a 30-day review after we did a preliminary, draft. So at this point in time, I would like to table this motion until state forestry legal team has, completed the MOA.
Second.
Second.
Scott?
Agreed.
Kim?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Billy? Yes. Tabled until further notice. Any old business? Do we have anybody for public input?
Alicia said no.
Do we need an executive session?
Not anymore.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You guys are faster than I can write.
And Billy's 5 minutes late.
I know it.